Hello, YouTube. Today on the Naughty Librarian, we are going over my recap and Easter eggs you may have missed in Interview with the Vampire, Season 1, Episode 2. Let's go. I'm really excited for this series. I'm having a ball with it. I think it's a really cool, interesting direction they're going with this adaptation, like changing the time period, changing a lot of things from the book to tell a new story using the source material. So I think it's a really cool idea, but there's still enough little Easter eggs in there for all of us book lovers to just like drool over. So first things first, we're gonna start off this episode. So we're back at Louis's house. He's having this interview with Daniel. And first thing we see is this like big painting on the wall, and Easter egg alert. The painter is Marius de Romanus, and Marius is a very ancient vampire. You meet him a lot in the books, friends with Lestat, and Marius was like an ancient Roman scholar, like toga, like Caesar days, and became a vampire. So Marius has been around for a minute, and he spent a lot of time in the Renaissance in Italy being a painter. Made other vampires we know. So yes, big Easter egg right there. Love it. Also, this is just a side note. I don't know why I didn't pick up on this in episode 1, but Louis's apartment is in Dubai. I don't know why I didn't pick up on that the first time. I guess I just wasn't paying attention to what city this was taking place in because they never leave the apartment. So really it could be anywhere. But it's in Dubai. And like, to the best of my knowledge, I don't think Louis's ever been to Dubai. I don't know why like Louis picked Dubai of all places to settle down. So I'm like, that's weird. Okay. Just a fun factoid. I don't know if that's going to become important later, but it's just, why Dubai? So going forward, this whole episode is going to be kind of about, Louis's first transition into being a vampire. At the end of episode 1, he became a vampire. This is like, Louis the vampire, the early years episode. It basically, from the beginning of the episode to the end of episode, about 6 years has gone by. So it's a pretty big time jump. So Louis and Daniel sit down at the table. They're going to be having dinner together, conducting the interview still. But, Daniel's human. He's got to eat. So they're having this whole, I don't know, 16-course meal. It's insane the level of service people that Louis employs. They're immaculate. I don't know why he needs a full kitchen staff. He's a vampire. But immaculate service staff he has. Even plastic wrap Louis's end of the table just because, vampires are notoriously messy eaters. I don't know why blood is always blurting out of their mouths every time they drink it. It's just a mess everywhere. It's like, eat better. I never understood why vampires are such messy eaters. Aren't you drinking the blood? Why is it falling out of your mouth? Are you bad at drinking? But anyway, let's continue on the story of Louis and Lestat. So Louis and Lestat, they kind of start off right where they left off in the last episode. They gotta go disappear 2 dead priests. So what are they gonna do with them? They take them to a graveyard to dispose of the bodies. And Louis is not doing well because he's turning into a vampire, which means his body needs to die. And I will say the episode made the transition much more appealing. It hurt a little bit. It felt gross. But then he popped right back up and was a vampire. And I'll tell you this Easter egg in case you wanted to know. But when Lestat became a vampire, I kid you not, he shit his pants. I'm not making that up. It's in the book. He literally shit his pants. So at least, they left that out of the episode. No one needs to see that. But Louis finishes his transition with no poopy pants, and he feels fantastic, high as a vampire kite. He is fully reveling in all of these new vampire things, and it's up to Lestat to kind of take him around town, show him the ropes. How do you find dinner without drawing too much unwanted attention? You have to pick properly. So he's kind of tutoring right now. And they take a long time to get to Louis's first meal. They're going around town, they're talking to people in bars, they have to pick the right victim. But it's Louis's hungry now. I feel why did we take so long to get to the victim? Louis is no, it's 2 a.m. I want to hit the drive-thru, not have a gourmet meal. So it takes so long to get to this point. But they do find the perfect dinner guest, so to speak. And they bring him back to the apartment. And Louis eats this guy. And Louis doesn't feel good about this. He's really nervous because he ate a person. Like, he killed some guy, and this guy, he spent like so long telling them about like his whole life story. He has his daughter he's trying to buy a horse for. He's trying to like make a living. You know, they spent a long time getting to know this person, and Louis ate him. So you know, it's a lot to just like digest. So Louis is freaking out a little bit, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, oh my god, I need to go home. I've done enough for tonight." So he leaves Lestat's apartment to his own detriment because what, the sun is up. And I guess Lestat didn't get around to telling Louis, hey, by the way, the sun will burn the shit out of you. Like, apparently immediately, because the second, like, Louis is out in the sun, boy, this catch fire. Like, fast. It is alarming how fast they catch fire. Side note too, with the books, they are not awake during the daytime. They go to bed. And a lot of times it's kind of like a coma state they fall into, or they literally cannot get up during the day. They are out. So the fact that they just can be up during the day is like a new thing, I think, just for the TV show. But yeah, boy, does he catch fire quickly. So Louis has to run back to Lestat's house because like he's literally catching fire in the sun. It's a problem. And Lestat, he brings him back in. He's like, whoops, sorry. I should have probably told you that, but now you've learned a powerful lesson. You know, sun equals bad for vampires. So, learning experience. And just like a little production detail here, but like Lestat's apartment is fully like retrofitted for vampires to live there. Like, they have all these cool shutters that like block out all sunlight, and they have like a secret room. They like push a button and like a door opens. It's a secret room for like the coffins and stuff. And it, you know, it's bedtime, it's daytime, let's go to bed. And Lestat's like getting into his coffin. There's only one coffin. I know they're using the only one bed trope, but it's with coffins. So there's only one coffin. What are we going to do? So Lestat's like, hey, Louis, come on. You can be on top if you want. Like, so they're just gonna like share this coffin. It's really kind of cute. So they cut back to the interview with Daniel because we can't forget that he's there too. And Daniel's like calling bullshit on a lot of this story, saying like how problematic it is. And like, bro, yeah, they're vampires. Like, shit's gonna be problematic at times. They literally kill people to live. So, what a shocker. But anyway, Daniel just has to take a minute to be pedantic. And they continue with their main course for dinner. And Daniel is having this gourmet, I think he's eating rabbit or something, like this gourmet dish. And Louis is having a fox, a live fox. They bring him out. And wow, Louis just eats this thing. And like, honestly, all of like the little whimpers and screams and stuff, it just makes me even more of a vegetarian, frankly. And also like, it's so hairy. Like, he's just gonna have like teeth full of hair. He's gonna have so much hair in his teeth. Tell me he's not. Like, it's a poor choice of animal to eat. It's so hairy. But after that little interlude, we go back to Lestat and Louis. And like in the book, like, Louis does not take to killing at all. He's very bad at it. He's still viewing himself through a lens of humanity. When he's not a human, he's a vampire. They're completely different species. Not all of those social mores necessarily apply the same. So that's like Louis's major conflict in a lot of things, is that he can't rationalize being something different than human, even though he is. So it's a big sticking point for him, and honestly causes him a lot of issues in life. However, he's still kind of making the best of this whole vampire thing, because like, this version of Louis is a little morally gray to start with. So like, he might have an issue with like killing, but like, boy, does he like all the other vampire tricks at his disposal. The strength, the hearing, the heightened senses. He can read minds. Boy, he likes that reading minds trick. He's way into that. So he's living it up. He's having a good time being a vampire. Overall, I don't think he regrets his decision. I figured I'd give you a little book accurate Easter egg here. There is talk about Louis and Lestat not being able to read each other's minds anymore. And that is book accurate. I don't know exactly why. I don't think the vampires in the book do either. Just kind of one of those things that a vampire cannot read the mind of another vampire they create, and vice versa. The creative vampire can't read their creator's mind. I'm not sure why that is. The books never tell either, but like fun Easter egg fact that's book accurate. They just can't read each other's minds anymore for reasons. Now, a big point of this episode is also the time period, and a big point of moving this time period from, the 1790s to 1910 is to tell this different story with Louis being a man of color. He's Creole, and also living in this time period where, just based on the color of his skin, he's barred from a lot of things. So it adds like a different layer to the story with Louis about how he feels about things. He's wrestling with racism. He's wrestling with homophobia. It's a lot of things to deal with on top of having new vampire powers. Also, like all of this new, like fertile storytelling ground, like gives the character a lot of reasons to actually have real conflict rather than just whining about things. Cause like, you guys, Louis in the book is such a little whiner. All he does is brood and whine. Like that is, if it was an Olympic sport, he's taking gold. Like, oh my gosh, the like Olympic level whining he does. So this one, no, Louis has problems that he needs to work through. And the fact that he now has, like superhuman abilities gives him a lot of, maybe not the healthiest ways of working through these conflicts. Like Louis himself says he has decades worth of rage to work out, and now he's working it out with his teeth. So, it leads to sticky situations like, oops, here's another body we got to get rid of. Whoopsie daisy. So, Louis maybe not using the best methods of getting over conflict, but he's working it out. However, this does add conflict to the Lestat-Louis relationship, because if Louis keeps showing up with random bodies, Lestat's like, bro, use some fucking common sense. And like, Louis gets mad because he doesn't understand. It's like a point of contention in this relationship. But at the end of the day, they both just truly love each other. And it's actually, there's a lot of like little sweet romantic moments in this episode. And I was like, aw, like this is so sweet if you like overlook all the bloody murder they're doing. But like if you don't look at the bloody murder, look at the romance. And it's actually like really sweet. And I do love that they really love each other. They have like their coffins right next to each other so they can go to bed together. And it's really, really cute. And they kind of go into business together in this episode, because Louis, he really wants to buy this like saloon that he's been a business partner on for quite some time, but he wants to own it. He wants this to be his. He wants to be successful because, he's a man of color, and a queer man of color at that. He wants to be successful in this era because he deserves it. He doesn't want to hide, basically. So it's a lot of that. And Lestat, he just wants his baby to have nice things. So he's like, okay, I'll give you the money. You can buy this saloon. It's yours. I think it's a bad idea, but I can't say no to you. So they kind of go into business together, and they buy this saloon, and it's really successful. Like, Louis knows what he's doing when it comes to running an establishment. And it's like so successful. It's called the Azalea. He treats all of his workers really well. He pays them more than anyone else in town pays their workers. It's fully integrated. Like anybody can come in regardless of skin tone. Anybody could be there. If you got money, you can come in. And also, it's making so much money. Like he was able to fully pay back Lestat with no problem. So it's not also like that's in the relationship with like it's a money imbalance. They both have their own money. So I do like that as well. Like Louis is not like a kept man. He's like, no, I have my own money. So I appreciate that. And they showed that in the power dynamic of that relationship. Otherwise it's going to be like really one-sided with Lestat having all of the power. But I like that they both have like an equality between them. So an unexpected like bonus to having this saloon that they own, it's as a perfect place to pick up dinner at night, like take home something from work, bring home dinner. But Louis is still remarkably bad at like eating. He skips a lot of meals. He's still really reluctant to kill people. So, he's really struggling with this. And if you go too long between meals, you get hangry, you're going to make poor decisions. So, like, here's the thing. Okay, so he goes and visits his sister, right? His sister just had a new baby. And she's like, oh, I have to go get something in the other room. You hold the baby. And he's like, Oh my gosh. Like he has been skipping meals and now he's holding a little baby. And everyone in the audience right now is just going, oh my God, is this baby going to be a Capri Sun? Like, please don't let this baby be a Capri Sun. We can't handle this. You know what they do? They cut away. They just leave it there and they go back to Daniel. And you're like, no, wait a minute. And I think even Daniel like reacts to this cut in the scene where he's just like, wait a minute, did you eat this baby? And then like Louis keeps not answering the question. And like Daniel's like, you know what? I'm very horrified that I've given you a lot of opportunities to say you didn't eat this baby and you have not said that. Like, did you eat this baby? Like, Daniel is horrified too. No one wants baby Capri Sun. But back in the present also, we do learn other facts about Louis. We haven't heard that he didn't eat this baby yet, but we do find out other facts that like he's actually doesn't kill anymore. He hasn't killed anybody since the year 2000. So he's like 22 years sober. Like, good for you, Louis. Oh my gosh, that's like an accomplishment. But just because he doesn't kill people anymore doesn't mean that like he doesn't drink human blood, because he has like donors now and he just comes and he like takes a little sip, sends the donor on their way. It's like a beneficial relationship. I'm sure he pays these donors very well. And it's just such a weird scene to have because Louis is drinking this guy's blood and the guy's just talking to Daniel like it's nothing. He's like, oh, have you been to Dubai before? Like, have you gone to this beach yet? You should go to that beach. It's really nice. Like, they're just talking like nothing. Like, this is just a normal thing. So it's just like an absurd scene, really, in this show. But eventually we do have to go back to, like, the main question here. Did Louis eat the baby? Spoiler alert, he does not eat this baby. Thank goodness. Like, he put down the baby and he ran away because, like, he wasn't about to eat a baby. He does have some morals. And I think a lot of vampires don't want to eat babies either. And, like, it fucked him up knowing that he was about to eat this baby. He wanted to. Fucked him up a lot. And Lestat's there for him. He's trying to, like, comfort him and show him that like he loves him very much. He's his family now, you know, all this stuff. It's very kind of like a sweet romantic scene and just reminds the audience that they're not like fighting all the time. They do actually have this really sweet romance with each other and how they like want to like live together and be in love. And like Lestat tries to like surprise Louis with a date night and stuff, so they're gonna go to the opera. Mind you, like I was talking about earlier, and the relationship problems that they have, Louis is a man of color, and going to an opera in, you know, 1916, 1917 era, he still has to pretend to be like Lestat's valet to get in. And, you know, it's just really heartbreaking knowing that was like the climate of the era. So they're at this opera and they're watching it. Like, Lestat is so happy. They're seeing Don Pasquale, and Lestat was there when it opened 72 years ago, so he's very excited to be seeing it. However, the tenor is not very good. So Lestat, Easter egg for the books, Lestat is kind of an art snob. The only thing he really believes in is beauty and art. And making beautiful things in this world is basically like his religion, like how he sees like people functioning in the earth. They only exist to make beautiful things. So like he's very kind of one of those, like kind of art snobby. And when like that tenor keeps hitting those wrong notes, you could just see Lestat's eyes filling with a murder about it. Like, he is so upset by this. Especially with vampire hearing, he's just losing it. So at the end of the night, you know, they're talking up everybody at the bar. Lestat, he brings the tenor back to the apartment. We all know what's happening here. It's just like, you don't deserve to get killed for a bad performance, but like that's what's going to happen to this guy. And Lestat is full on taking his time with this guy. Like, he's not just like a quick like snack. He's like they're draining him over like hours of time. And Louis is kind of disturbed by all this, but at the end of the day, he's still in this relationship with Lestat, and he does ultimately want to please Lestat. So he kind of fakes it. He's just like, yeah, my vampire nature, I'll work on it. You know, it's one of those like trying to please someone else, even though you're doing something you personally find distasteful. So we're gonna cut back to the present, and you have the dessert course finally. So the dinner's over. It's kind of like a nice like setting for this like tale. It's like, you know, you have the appetizers, you have your main course, you have your dessert. And they bring it out, and Daniel's like, oh, okay, and he's eating dessert. And oddly enough, they bring out a plate for Louis as well. And Louis tells him, like, oh, you know, I try to eat one human meal a week just to like keep up, you know, my humanity. And I think there's probably better ways to do that rather than eating human food. Like, how does that work? I don't know. They don't get into any like mechanics of it, but like his body doesn't need it. Does he have to go throw it up later? Like, where's it gonna go? Where does this human food go once it's in him? I don't know how this works, but he's eating a dessert. So I think it's the first time I've seen a vampire like eat human food. I haven't really seen vampires even bother to try. Like, why bother? It seems like it's a bit of a moot point at this moment. Like, he's been a vampire for about like 120 years now. Like, the time for this has passed. But anyway, you know, and that's kind of where the episode ends. It's just Louis and Daniel kind of eating dessert. So overall, this episode just kind of expanded more into Louis's main conflicts he has in life. And I feel like these conflicts being set up now are going to come into play in all the rest of the episodes. Obviously, you know, like Louis's humanity, how he has to give up family, leads to Claudia later on, where they kind of build their own little vampire family. And also just like from the time period and who Louis is, who Lestat is, some fundamental little issues in their relationship and how those are going to grow over time. And I feel like the next episode is probably going to have another time jump. Mind you, they're vampires. They're going to be around for a while. So time will take its course. But I am quite excited to continue on with this show so far. I'm having an amazing time. Let me know in the comments down below, what did you think of this episode? What were your most tense moments? Let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, make sure you give it a like. And if you want to see more videos, make sure you subscribe. And if you want cool exclusive content, including a book club, you can sign up to be a channel member or a patron. The links for that are in the description down below. And on that note, I will see you guys soon. Bye!